part of that is because of the guy sitting between us right now, Wolf. Monti Ossenfort, Cardinals GM, going into year 2 as the GM. Monti, there's a lot of buzz around this team. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm doing great. Great. Thanks for having me. First, can we get Wolf here a towel and some water? I hear he got pretty lathered up with Tip up here last segment.
Yeah, I know.
Good gracious. Get this guy to calm down.
First of all, Monti, this is a square dude, man. That is a square dude.
He's right up your alley, man. He's right up your alley.
I'm so excited to see Tip Ryman. Honestly, though, Monti, I'm really excited. This iteration of the Arizona Cardinals in 2024, I am jacked up because, listen, I don't know how many games we're going to win, okay? I think we're going to win more games, obviously, than we won last year. But I know how we're going to play. And we're going to be a physical football team. Monti, that fires me up.
Yeah, Wolf, we're excited. We're excited to get out here. I mean, today you'll see out here in a little bit the first day of pads, and that's when we're playing real football, and we've been through the spring and we don't have pads on, and so, now we really get to see guys and see how that translates to the actual game. And so we're excited. We're excited about the free agents we added. We're excited about the rookies we drafted. We're excited about our core of veterans coming back. We're excited about the rookies that played last year taking a step in year 2. So, hey, I know that we're going to go out there and we're going to compete and we're going to fight, and we're just looking forward to taking the next step here and really prepping through August and getting ready to go to Buffalo and try to get a win.
We've talked about a version of this before, but it continues now into year 2 for you, and players have told us this. There's a lot of guys on this team that approach the game the same way, or think about it, or value football in their life the same way. I'm sure it was by design, but that can't be the easiest thing to look for in like the draft process or free agency or something.
Yeah, Luke, I'd say that's been a focus since the day that we got here. And, we were fortunate to inherit a group of veterans here that understood that and understood what we were trying to do, and guys that really got it and bought into what we were trying to do. And then to go through our process, whether it's a free agent or rookies in the draft, we put those guys through a pretty stringent process to see if they, like JG likes to say, meet the price of admission. And then, maturity, accountability, dependability, toughness, smart, all those things are important for players and the team to reach our highest potential. So we put a lot of time and effort into that. And, I really think that the football character of our team is going to show through here this year.
It's why culture matters. It's so important right now. Monti, does it apply to everybody that is on this roster? Did it apply to everybody when you said, okay, you know what, we're going to draft this guy, or no, we're going to sign this free agent rookie, we're going to bring him on? Did it apply to everybody on the team?
Well, if I'd take that a step further, I'd say it applies to everybody in the organization. I think what we're looking for is we're looking for people that are going to put the team first. And so, obviously, with the players, their job is to perform on the field, but it goes, whether we're talking about our scouts, whose job is to go find players, our trainers who get players ready, our strength staff to get people trained, and our coaches, everybody has a role, and we talk all the time about putting the team first. And so, it certainly applies to the players, the 90 guys that we have on the team, but it applies to everybody in the organization. We all have a job to do, and it's hard to win in this league. And if everybody's not doing their job to the fullest potential, it's going to be hard. So, it certainly applies to the players. It applies to everybody that has this Cardinal logo on their shirt.
We're talking to Monti Ossenfort. So with that in mind, Monti, when you see you're going to be picking 4th and Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to be there, and you know how good he is, but before you really got to talk to him, were you like, hopefully this guy fits the price of admission? Because it sure seems like he has the right personality too. It seemed like that really kind of worked out perfectly.
Yeah, Luke, I'd say when we can find players that not only we like on the field, but we like them off the field, that's when we hit the jackpot, and that's what we're trying to do. And so, we put a lot of time and effort into the scouting process, both the evaluation on the field and then the evaluation of the player off the field. And so, Marvin certainly checked all the boxes for us. And so to be able to add a player that's had his career and comes from his pedigree, and then also just to get to spend more time with him and just see his approach to the game and his maturity that he brings, and it's great to see. And so we're excited to have Marv.
Okay, so first day of pads. This is kind of a big deal right here. It really is. First day of pads. Do you have a plan? I asked you this yesterday, but you were thinking more about film and watching it. I'm talking about as practice practices going on, do you have a plan saying, I'm going to follow this group, this position group after team stretch? I'm going to go watch these guys, and then I'm going to go over here. Then I'm going to stand here for team. Do you have a plan as to each practice you're going to watch?
Yeah, Wolf, and I'd say, really it's going to start with the offense and defensive line because, we've seen these guys.
I knew that, buddy.
I knew you'd think. You might have been leading me into that there a little bit. Okay. But I would say, we've evaluated these guys moving around, and you can see more, I'd say, from the movement of the skill players, right, in the spring and what we've done so far. Yeah. But it's the true evaluation of the O&D line is going to start today. And when we see, on the offensive line, who can move people off the ball, defensive line, who can sit in there and anchor and shed blocks, linebackers who can come downhill, I think that evaluation part of it for that front seven on defense and the front on offense, that really starts this afternoon.
See, now that you've told him that, he's going to be watching all these things.
I know. He's going to have eyes on it. Yeah, exactly.
We're talking to Cardinals GM Monti Ossenfort. Monti, with Budda Baker, he's a guy that since day one you guys have said really kind of embodies what you want to be, and I mean that it really does sort of fit everything you've described with your team. As far as his contract, he's still signed through this year, but is there a sense of urgency with that, or is that kind of a wait and see how the season unfolds, or what's the thought process there?
Yeah, Luke, I think all our players are at, we have guys that are at different stages of contract status. Some guys are up after this year, some guys have a couple more, some guys are just starting on their rookie deals. And so, I think that's a case-by-case basis on how that goes. And, we've had a lot of discussions with Budda here over the last couple of years. And so, I think we're happy that we have Budda, and we'll see kind of what that means moving forward. But, we love all the guys that we got on the team right now. We'll see how that shakes out with the 53. But Budda certainly represents everything that we want this team to be about. And, we're excited to see how this season goes right now.
For me, when I think about it, too, just listening to Budda Baker talk about this, his attitude seems to be fantastic on this.
Budda's attitude has been fantastic ever since, we got here. And so, that's not surprising to me. That's kind of what I thought coming in. And so just the way that he leads, the way that he prepares, the way he goes about his business and works. And, it really shone on the first night of our first meeting and when he addressed the entire team and just putting his sentiments out there. And it was great. It was a great message for the team, great message for everybody in the room.
Were you there?
I was, absolutely.
You were there, right?
Absolutely.
There. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think of that. I think of that dude standing up, and I realize I played in a different era, yet at the same time, when you got a guy who was so well regarded, so well respected, who stands up and just starts riffing about what you're going to do and how we're going to do it around here, man, I'll tell you, that's powerful.
It is powerful. It is powerful because, we can say it as a staff and we can say it as coaches, but when your buddy next to you in the locker and the guy that you see working and putting that time in, like when that person says it and when the players, JG and I've talked about this at length, when the players take control of the team with how we want to do it, that's when we start rolling. And so, we're really excited about the leadership that we have from Budda, from James Conner, from different players that have come, that are on the team right now. We're excited about the leadership that they're providing our group right now.
Monti Ossenfort is joining us right now. The leadership, it is spread out very, very evenly across. I mean, you've got Budda on defense, you got James Conner, Kyler Murray on offense, you've got Kaiser White or whoever on defense too. I'm sure that's the way you would draw it up. How much easier does that make it to potentially succeed with a pretty young team? Because you are counting on a lot of first and second year players too.
Yeah, that's a good point, Luke. We are a young team. Like we are definitely. We were young last year. We're going to be young again this year. But we do have a group. Some of those guys that you mentioned there. You can add Jalen Thompson in there. You mentioned Kaiser. We added some veterans through free agency that Cardinal fans will learn to know here on the defensive line. Bilal and Justin Jones and Mac Wilson at linebacker. A couple of receivers. Chris Moore, Zay Jones. So, I think when you have those players spread out and they can, they listen to what we're trying to do and buy into it and are able to not only listen, take it in, but then put it into practice out here in practice, out in the meeting rooms, back at the hotel and everything that we do. That's when that example really shines through to those young players.
So last year, 2023, the Arizona Cardinals number 4 in rushing yards per game, right? And number 2 in rushing yards per play. Monti, you put those two things together right there. You guys were a physical bunch last year. There's no denying that. This roster, especially the offensive depth chart, has gotten even better. You've added guys that are even more physical to me. Do you think it's possible the Arizona Cardinals are going to have the most physical offense in the NFL?
Yeah, Wolf. I mean, we're going to have to see how that plays out, but that is is one of our modes of operation. We want to be physical. We want to be tough. We want to outrun. We want to out-hit. We want to outthink the opponents. And so running the ball, I mean, it can demoralize an opponent. You can control the line of scrimmage. You can control the clock, and then that's going to open up the pass game, play action, shots down the field. And so, we think we've added pieces that are going to help the offense, just as we've added on defense. But, I think for us to be successful, we're going to have to be a balanced offense like that. We're going to have to be able to control the clock, take our shots when they're there, and Kyler's going to be able to do things with his arm and his leg. And so I think that just opens up a lot of things for us.
I think a longtime Cardinals fans have seen a pretty clear evolution of Kyler Murray, even though they got to play half of last season. It really seemed to take off when you and Jonathan Gannon and everybody got here a couple years ago. How have you seen him evolve over the last 16, 17 months?
Yeah, I think, Luke, I don't know how things were before I got here. And, I think from the day that I got here, just seeing Kyler's work ethic as it last year, really saw it shine through in his rehab process and coming back from that major injury, and then seeing him focus and learn the offense when he wasn't able to be out there on the field. And so I think what we've seen this past offseason is he's taken it to another level. And so the work ethic has still been there. He's been in the facility nonstop from the season, since the season ended. And so, but he's been able to focus on actually getting his body right instead of rehabbing an injury. And so then in the spring was able to take that, and he was on the field the entire spring, taking his knowledge and understanding of the offense, just becoming more comfortable in an offense that he had really, until last year, had never played in his whole life. So just him getting those reps and that time with his teammates and some of the team bonding things that the team and he has done, he's been kind of at the forefront of some of the things in the offseason. I think that's going to pay dividends for us down the road. And so just seeing his growth both on the field and off the field has been great to see.
So Trey Benson, oh my goodness, I really like what I'm seeing from this kid right now. To me, when you drafted Trey Benson, you might as well have just stepped up to the microphone and said, you know what, we're going to institutionalize brutality around here. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be a physical bunch, and if James Conner is nicked up or banged up, we'll go ahead and replace him with Trey Benson. This kid, what have you seen from this kid so far? Yeah. I love how thick he is from the waist down. My goodness.
Yeah, he is a big kid, Wolf. He is a big kid, and I think Trey's off to a good start. And running backs, I say, a little bit of a position, too, where once the pads get in, we're going to have to see contact balance and ability to play through the line of scrimmage, tight spaces. But Trey's off to a good start. Like, he had a great career in Florida State. He's big, he's fast, he's instinctive, he runs through contact well. And I think one thing that's been a pleasant surprise is, I would say this isn't unique to Trey, but sometimes college running backs don't get featured and don't have opportunities in the pass game as much. Well, Trey's done a nice job of catching the ball, early on here in camp, and pass protection is always a tough responsibility for running backs to learn. And so he's answered the bell on that. He's obviously got room to improve, but we're excited about what he's going to bring to that room. And really, he's got no better example in person to learn from than James Conner.
I got to ask you about Darius Robinson before we let you go, because we've talked to him a few times. We've all heard that 2-minute clip where he went through like his entire week right after you guys drafted him. He seems like the sort of guy that you guys probably talked to him for like 3 minutes and you're like, yeah, that's one of our guys. How confident were you that you were going to be able to draft him in the first round?
Yeah, we were holding our breath there a little bit, Luke. Yeah. He was a guy that our scouts spent a lot of time with. We met with him down at the Senior Bowl, met with him at the Combine. And so, he is an impressive kid. Like, I think every time he meets with the media, it's more impressive than the last. And so, I think with him, he's off to a good start. He is just so long. He's so big. I think he's going to bring versatility. The defensive staff is doing a great job of moving him around here early in camp. And so I think he's going to bring some matchup problems for us. And along with the rest of that group of front seven players, I think that's going to allow us to affect the quarterback, which is what it's all about on the defensive side of the ball.
So Monty, when will the tight ends work against the edge, and will Darius Robinson actually line up out there and actually be one of those guys on the edge?
Yeah, I think Darius, he brings a lot of possibilities. So if you keep your eyes out there for Tip against Darius,
I was thinking, man. Yes,
we're gonna need a fire extinguisher out here.
You'll hear him down there. Don't worry.
He'll be yapping up here. We'll get fired up about that.
Monty, this was awesome. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, guys. Good seeing you.
Yep, that's Monti Ossenfort joining us right there.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.